being Canadian and preparing for winter. And this game is dripping with theme. Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy at the Chance of Meeples. Today, we're going to be looking at a game in which we will be preparing for winter. Something I know a lot about, coming out of a season of winter where we got over 5 feet of snow, one of the most snowfalls in our region in over 100 years. I know a little bit about winter. In this game, you're going to be creating different comforts, hoping to have the coziest home for winter. Today, we're looking at a worker placement game from Kids Table Board Gaming. Today, we're looking at creature comforts. Let's dive in. Cue the thunder. So the radar review for creature comforts by Kids Table Board Gaming. This is the Kickstarter edition, and the production quality on this is fantastic. From all of these wooden tokens to this wickedly cool first player marker, wickedly cool insert that everything fits in. The Kickstarter version came with also the Towns micro expansion as well as the Dreams Come True expansion, but just fantastic. Fits sleeves cards and improvements and the dice and the little first player marker. Just everything fits fantastically. Is that a word? It is now. Fantastically in this insert. And how does the game play? Well, this is a game in which you are preparing for winter, and being Canadian, it feels as if I'm always preparing for winter and just getting your comforts ready for your den or your burrow or whatever animal you are playing as. So each player gets a little player board as well as a set of 4 characters. They also start with a couple different comforts, and this is kind of how you're going to win the game, by building these comforts. Some of these comforts will piggyback off of others. So this flute, if you build it, you'll gain an additional 2 victory points if you have a mandolin. Each comfort takes resources to build, and you gain resources by either going to the valley, maybe going to the river, visiting some of these cool characters like this wild turkey at the inn, maybe trading money for resources or swapping different resources for different resources at the market. You go to the Owl's Nest to pick up more comfort cards, or you may want to, do some improvements to your cottages, and you'll go to the workshop and get different things that'll help you out during the game. So this game plays in either 6 rounds for a shorter game or a complete 8 rounds for the full game. And each round, the first player marker will take this, or the first player of the round will get the first player marker. Each player will roll their family dice. They will put this on their player board. At that point, simultaneously, everybody will put all of their critters on their board. So let's say I have a 4 and a 2. I want to get some books, and maybe I also, want to take some cards. Maybe I also go get some mushrooms, and I will maybe go to the workshop. After everybody has placed all of their critters out, then the first player of the round will roll all the village dice. When they've rolled that, it'll go on the hilltop, and then they will start the next part of the round. When it comes back, or say it would come to my turn, at that point I would take all 6 of these dice and I would assign them to the different locations. So here it says I need a straight, so I could put this 4, 5, and 6. And here I need a 3 and a 4. Well, I don't have a 3 and a 4, so I'm just going to put those there, even though I can't use it. Spots with the pound sign or the number sign, any dice value, and then I have 1 more dice. Well, I actually don't have 1 more dice, so maybe I put 1 there. This guy, he doesn't get a resolve, so I pull him back and I get a lesson learned token, which I can use on a later round, and this can add 1 or subtract 1 to any dice. I love it. Lesson learned, they're band-aids. I think that's really cool. So this will go there. I would take this guy back, get my 2 books, as well as $1, because I put my guy here. Take him back, as well as my family die, and I can collect any one of these. And you know what? Let's say I want a flute. Then these get moved along over here, and then I can go to the workshop. So I put a 2 here. That means I can go up to 2 spots on the rung. So I could buy the umbrella or the weather vane, and each of these gets you different special abilities. Much like this umbrella, I can once per turn I may add 1 or 2 to one of my family dice. So this will help me mitigate, or not mitigate, but have some control. Maybe I wanted a 3 this time. If I had the umbrella, I could do that. I put it 2 so I can only go up 2 spots on the ladder, so I can only build one of these 2. If I have the resources, I build it right away. If I don't, again, that would go back on the hilltop, and this guy would go back home with another lesson learned. After you've retrieved all your critters, then you can build stuff if you have the resources. So here, toys and a candle, as well as a flute. I don't have any of these resources, but say I had wood, I would then play this in front of me. And there we go. I would pay the cost, 1 wood, and let's say I had 1 coin and 1 wood. Say I had that, I put that in front of me. At the end of the game, I would get 4 points. Of course, if I had a mandolin, I would gain another 2. The inn has a whole bunch of different critters that will go each round. They'll be different. So you have all sorts of different animals that are visiting the inn each round. After everybody's taken their turns and whatnot, the river dial turns. You have a little bit of upkeep. The river dial turns. You start the next month by creating 4 new locations to gain resources. I will say this: in spring you can't get wheat, in summer you can't get mushrooms, and in fall you can't get yarn. So you'll have to think about those things when you're collecting your resources throughout the months. And then you go until all these piles are gone. You add up all your scores. If you built any of these improvements, you gain victory points there. And for every improvement that you put out, you'll be revealing points as well. Whoever has the most points would be the winner. I just want to showcase a little bit of the artwork on these comforts because, like I said, being Canadian, it rings true. You got to get ready for the long winter. You got a quilt and soup and a board game. Hey, look at that. That's another game by Kids Table Board Gaming. Facilis, tea and a hearth and a pantry. And where's this one? Everdell's in here because, well, we all need a copy of Everdell at winter. And, of course, now I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh, there's Wingspan as well. But, yes, lots of cool artwork in this game. Cool combos to gain more victory points. And that is how you play Creature Comforts. Let's check out... There's Everdell. Let's check out the final forecast. So the final forecast for Creature Comforts, a game all about getting ready for winter. As mentioned, I took a look at the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition, and it is in fact a Deluxe Edition. All those wooden tokens, screen printed, they look fantastic. I love the little, the coins. It got the maple leaf. It's Canada. It just reminds me of being Canadian and preparing for winter. And this game is dripping with theme. It is absolutely fantastic. The theme, the love that Kids Table Board Gaming has put into this game is evident through and through. Production quality, absolutely top notch, and just everything about the critters and just the atmosphere that this game brings is just one of coziness. And it makes sense because you're trying to create the most cozy home by the end of the game. And you do that by creating quilts and rocking chairs and board games and stews and breads and fireplaces. You can also create things to spend your outdoors times with or spend times outdoors with toboggans and ice skates and just everything about it. It just kind of screams Canada, but not to say you have to be Canadian to really enjoy this theme, because I think anyone who lives in colder climates spends a lot of time indoors in winter, and I feel that this game will get a lot of play in our house during those winter months because it just evokes that just time of year. I love the thematic elements of In spring, you can't gain wheat. In summer, you can't gain mushrooms. In fall, you can't gain yarn. So you have to plan ahead, and you got cards in your hand of comforts that you want to craft, but they're all needing wheat, and you have those in spring. So should you hold on to those and wait those few rounds until you can gain some wheat, or do you get other resources and go to the market to then exchange those resources for wheat? Or maybe one of the critters coming to the inn will help you gain wheat, or one of these other resources that aren't available in the different months. Just that, it just makes sense. Another thing that I really love is the lesson learned tokens. So, in life, you try something, it doesn't work, you learn from it, and you learn from your mistakes, and you do something better or different the next time. And this game has that with the lesson learned tokens. You send a worker out, you can't resolve that worker, they come back with a lesson learned token, which are actually tiny little band-aids, and even that is just so cozy, and I just absolutely love that. Just overall, I did enjoy this game. It says 8+ for age, 45 minutes. I think both those things are a little bit off. I've played this a few times with my 8-year-old, and there's a lot to think about. There's 12 different locations you can put your workers. You only have 4 to work with, and you only have 6 dice to use. So there are limitations where you're going to put your workers, because sometimes you want to go to this location, you want to go to that location, but you need 5 out of the 6 dice for 2 locations. So are you just going to do that and get lesson learned tokens for a future round? Or are you going to decide to, move your workers other places? So there's quite a bit of stuff to think about. And for an 8-year-old, for my 8-year-old who plays a fair amount of games, there was a lot to think about. I didn't even play with the improvements with him the first time or the first 2 times, because that's just another level of depth in this game. And that's the whole thing that Kid Tables Board Gaming does. Their whole slogan, I believe, is serious games for casual gamers and casual games for serious gamers. And this hits the nail on the head. So 8+ might be a little bit on the lower, or 8 might be too low. And 45 minutes, I think, is definitely too low for this game. I can't see a 4-player game lasting only 45 minutes. My wife and I, we've only played it at the 2-player count. I played with my son at the 2-player count as well, but I've only played this at the 2-player count, and every one of our games has been between 45 and 60 minutes at 2 players. And adding more people just spreads the game out. So I don't know exactly how they got 45 minutes. And I would say, my wife and I, when we play, we don't have a lot of AP. We're not sitting there and just, no, go there. Go. Our turns are pretty snappy, but there is a decent amount of upkeep in between the months, having to flip over the valley and the meadow cards, and getting rid of a card from the owl nest, and rotating the river wheel. And so there is some fiddliness in between the months. It says in the rules you can play a 6-month game, and they suggest that for younger players, or a shorter game. I suggest that at any time. Anytime you play this game, play it at the 6-month instead of the 8-month. I think the 8-month is too long, and the 6-month is obviously shorter. You won't have as high scores, so you might feel a little bit more restricted, that you're not going to be able to get as much stuff built. At the same time, I think it brings in more variety, because you're not going to be using all the spring and summer locations for the valley. So you're going to be using 2 less each game. So it'll be a little bit more randomness as to which card is not going to show up. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this game. It's just, like I said, it's cozy. It says it in the rules. If you're tied, it's even better than if only one person wins. That's what this game invokes. It's chill. It's not super in your face. Maybe at the Owl's Nest and the improvements, people will be taking the cards that you want. But overall, you can go to every location with other people, and you're not going to be hindered for the most part. So overall, I'm giving it a 75% chance of meeples, because I feel this is going to be one that, as my kids grow up, we're going to want to play more and more in the winter during those wintry months. So 75% chance of meeples for Creature Comforts. My name is Brent. Check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with the Chance of Meeples. Remember, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.